Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about artificial intelligence, AI, writing tools for podcasters. I covered a WordPress plugin called Bertha.ai in the past. I'll link that video up in the description below, or you can find it on the channel. Today we're taking a look at something called Lex. This one is just in the web browser. You can find it at lex.page. It's invite only at the moment. And in today's video, I'm not going to compare and contrast AI writing tools because I don't feel like I'm that experienced in them yet. I've tried a bunch. Some of them, just like no-code tools, they promise the world, but you have to really work with them and know how these AI tools function like an operating system. You have to be really good and really skilled on using them to actually produce good stuff. The way that I see Lex working is a lot more simplified than a lot of the competition. It's not doing a lot, but that's the intent behind, at least the way that I perceive it, the intent behind the way that they've developed this app. They're looking at it from much more of creating a great writing experience first and foremost that's augmented by an AI writing assistance bot. And it feels less intrusive. It doesn't feel like all of the creativity is getting sucked out of my human brain and put into artificial intelligence. Now, that's of November 4th, 2022, but who knows what happens, in the future. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of bells and whistles and suggestions and mints of paragraphs that you can pull and research and quotes. There's other tools out there that go really in depth with searching SEO, searching other websites, pulling in data, creating outlines, doing all this stuff, which is great for these really in-depth articles. But the way that I look at AI writing tools is I just need something to assist me break that writer's block and help me continue on with the words on the page without getting so intrusive. Okay, enough of the framing of the discussion here. Let's just pretend I'm writing out some podcast show notes for an interview that I just did. This would be very common, I think, for you, me, and a lot of other podcasters. And I'm just going to make up a mock scenario. So I'm going to title it first, My Interview with Stuart Barefoot. Today's episode is all about producing great podcasts with Stuart Barefoot. Stuart is an audio industry veteran, now head of production at Castos Productions. He's also the co-host of Audience, a Castos Originals podcast. He's been in audio nearly all of his life and really found his way after graduating college and taking a job a local radio station. So this is just me pontificating about Stuart. Stuart is actually our lead producer here at Castos Productions and at Castos. He's also the co-host with me on the Audience podcast. He also produces and edits that podcast. It's a fantastic podcast about audio, audiencepodcast.fm. So I've written my first paragraph, but now, I don't know, let's say I'm stuck. I don't know what else to say at this moment. And this can happen to you if you're interviewing somebody you don't really know very well, or somebody that is, talking about topics that are just well beyond your reach. It's not something that's your core competency, medical, government, tech, and you're really stuck. So if I were to prompt Lex to do some work for me, I might give it a keyword like podcast production. And I give it the command, these 3+ symbols. So 1, 2, 3. And it does that at the end of any sentence or open white space, and it'll start to generate content for me. Now, apparently this Lex is still in sort of like a beta or a test phase. They prompt you and let you know that sometimes the content that it gives back isn't really useful. Find the parts that you want to use or try again and start to build your document out that way. But if I just gave Lex the keyword podcast production, it would it prompts me back with this. How do you approach podcast production? Question mark. For me, podcast production is all about creating a show that flows well and sounds great. I start by planning out each episode with the host and then work together to record and edit the audio. That's pretty basic stuff. But if you were trying to add some depth to this podcast show notes on a topic you knew nothing about, at least it's a great starting point to build out your content. So it says, one of the biggest challenges I face is keeping and then it just stops, right? So it doesn't really give you this completed thing. Maybe if I hit plus again, it'll continue to build out based off of, what I already had. And it did. So if I put this back up on this sentence, one of the biggest challenges I face is keeping the sound quality consistent from episode to episode. This can be a challenge when you have multiple people recording it. So it's actually building the story for you. It's building out that content for you, and you get to shape this however you see fit. Now, I'll say it again. I feel like I've repeated this multiple times, but I will use AI writing tools as an assistant. And I think most of them are labeled that way. I think if you're the promise of just like letting the content be written for you, I can see that being quickly, reverse engineered by search engines. I mean, Google versus the bots, who wins when Google is a fleet of bots itself? I don't know. But I can't see quality content just being turned on the fly without some kind of human nuance to it. I'm probably wrong. Things will always get better as this technology enhances itself, right? And gets better every day. So Lex being this sort of writing first tool, but with an AI assistant, I kind of like it because it is clean. There's nothing getting in the way. And this sort of one last bonus feature that I'll show you is you can see this little star icon up here. It says generate title ideas. Remember, the title is everything, right? With getting somebody to click. So what I'll do is I'll click on this generate ideas icon, and it'll analyze the content that it's already put out there and give me some titles based off of that. Now, it didn't give me any on the first pass, so let's go ahead and hit generate more one more time. And there it is. It's given me a few more options to pick from: Podcasting for Dummies, How to Produce a Great Podcast with Stuart Barefoot, The Do's and Don'ts of Podcasting with Stuart Barefoot, How to Make Your Podcast Stand Out with Stuart Barefoot, Podcasting Tips and Tricks with Stuart Barefoot. So it's just prompting you some ideas. You can see the little, bugs or inconsistencies with an app like this that's still apparently under heavy production or heavy development. And you can see it didn't work the first pass. But look, pretty easy. Click a button. It's giving you some ideas. They might not be the most earth-shattering or most click-worthy titles, but if you're stuck and you're trying to think of something, at least you have some kind of starting point with a new title. So Lex.page, again, I covered another one called Bertha for WordPress specifically. If you're a WordPress writer or your podcast is using our Seriously Simple Podcasting plugin and you are looking to generate show notes right inside of WordPress, check out Bertha. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you using AI now? Which one are you looking at? What questions do you have? Let us know in the comments below. Thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want more, because of course you do. All right. YouTube.com/Cassos, Cassos.com to start your podcast. We'll see you in the next video.